What's up, Trojan fans, and welcome back to Coliseum Chronicles Live here on the Voice of College Football, joined by Terrence Holton. I'm Casey Kasliner. Quickly, a word.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
Thank you to everyone joining us right now as we are 2-0. USC Trojans have won their first two games that they were very much favored in, playing Missouri State last week, and then this week playing Georgia Southern. But Terrence, you and I were both at that game. Certainly a very exciting, couple plays, I guess we'll say. Makai Lemon going 60 plus multiple times. Wayman Jordan, he did fumble on his first carry, I believe, or third play from scrimmage, and allowing a Georgia Southern touchdown after that. But aside from some of that negative stuff, what did you see, and what really stood out to you on the positive side for this USC Trojan team in week 2?
Yeah, Casey, positively, the offense was moving the ball. 100%. The offense looked fantastic. It was humming. Of course, it is Georgia Southern. We should always take that with a grain of salt. But 755 yards of offense, that's no small feat, especially because Jaden Mayava only threw 24 passes, 412 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Great year. Granted, a lot of that was due to Makai Lemon taking it himself. However, he still played great, and that's not even mentioning the run game. 309 yards on the ground. Wayman Jordan was fantastic. He just looked great. I mean, even the younger guys, King Miller and Harry Dalton, those guys were getting in and just breaking them. I mean, we got to talk about putting King Miller on a scholarship. If I'm not mistaken, he's a walk-on. But
he is.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Of course, the smaller opponents, but he's been fantastic. The offense looked great. It was humming. Jacoby Lane and Makai Lemon, the best receiver duo in college football. Not crazy to say that at all. Offense looked great. What about you, though? Because I have my gripes with the defense.
Yeah, and I think we both do, and we'll get into some of that in a little bit. Makai Lemon, I believe, third most receiving yards in the country right now, trailing the San Jose State receiver, number 2. I should know his name. I always blank on it. And then one other random receiver, number 1. I think Makai Lemon, it's very, very realistic to say right now that he is going to be a Biletnikoff finalist if he keeps up this production. He has been so fun to watch, his speed. I mean, him and Jacoby Lane are just so different. And I think that's what we talked about this whole offseason. I'm not going to say we necessarily predicted it because I think it's fairly obvious, but Jacoby Lane and Makai Lemon are the lightning and thunder of this offense, because we saw that one-handed catch from Jacoby Lane, catch of the year candidate in week 2. And I mean, we got a catch of the year candidate in week 1 last year with Kyron Hudson against LSU, making probably one of the best catches I've literally ever seen at any level of football. But Jacoby Lane, again, being, a freak of nature, athletically, really cool to see. I agree with you with the running backs. I think, the versatility with all 4 of them, we didn't really see much of Brian Jackson, but Wayman Jordan, Eli Sanders they're similar in some ways, but different in a lot of ways too. I think Wayman Jordan's very shifty, but he can also be kind of a power back in some ways, because he's not the tallest guy, but he's also, for his weight, I think he's bigger for his height. And then Eli Sanders is, a little bit less heavy than Wayman Jordan, a little bit less muscular, but he's a guy that can just break outside. So I love the running back room as well. I truly think that this team offensively has every single different type of weapon. I mean, they didn't even really have to use Lake McCree this week when he had a huge touchdown last week. And so I think it really goes to show they have so many weapons at their disposal.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Jackson, he was dealing with an injury this week. That's why we didn't see him single
Right.
carry. I think he's going to be more of that power back, though. I think when it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you need 1 yard to obviously from your running back. I think you're going to go Brian Jackson rather than your Eli Sanders or Wayman Jordan.
Yeah.
So hopefully that injury isn't too much, and we'll see him in the next couple weeks. But I really liked what I saw from him. Wayman Jordan is fun to watch. That dude hits every single juke move that you can think of on his way to scoring a touchdown. It's really great. And just to add on to what you were saying for the receiving, it's Danny Scudero and Jaden Bradley from UNLV. That's number 1 and 2. And Mekhi is behind them by 15. I was saying to people, I really wanted one game from Mekhi where he could stat pad. I think I said this last week actually on the show. I wanted a Mekhi Lemon stat padding game, because that is what he's going to need if we want him to win the Biletnikoff, which I think he totally can. But he needs to stat pad against these bad teams, and he did just that. And he did it on his own volition. He did fantastic. But I needed a stat padding game. My prayers were answered.
Yeah, and we talked about Wayman Jordan, and I don't want to harp too much on the negatives because he had a career day. Granted, only through two games so far, but it was his first game with over 100 rushing yards. And he fumbles on that first drive, only a minute in. It was after USC's first down of the day. And it's not really his fault. Like, it kind of just gets punched out. But I think the one thing maybe he could have done better is he lowers his head into 3 defenders. I believe one's a linebacker, one's maybe a DB, and one's a defensive lineman. Like, if you're not that big of a running back, which Wayman Jordan isn't, I just don't know if that's the wisest thing to do. Look, I'm not on the field. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert here, but he lowered his head and his body and was, taking the force of 3 big defenders. I just, maybe that's one thing he wants to think about and to prevent that from happening again, but don't want to take away from his game.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, there's obviously, and of course that led to the Georgia Southern touchdown. There's obviously things that you can do a lot better on the offensive side. I think we should talk about the things that need to be done better on the defensive side. And we're going to break down those touchdowns that Georgia Southern had, because we've talked about them a little bit. It feels like a very fixable thing. Really quickly, though, Casey, the thing I was most disappointed with was the discipline from the defense.
Yeah.
Because they had 3 hands to the face penalties, 2 pass interferences. One was picked up, that the one that Georgia Southern scored their first touchdown. There was also an uncalled hands to the face, although it may have been unnecessary roughness. When it's the quarterback, is it hands to the face or is it unnecessary roughness?
Was it after a throw?
It was after the throw.
Wouldn't that be roughing the passer?
Roughing the passer? Maybe.
Roughing the passer.
But there was one that I saw from inside the stadium where as soon as they got rid of it, J.C. Clark got rid of it, it was right to the face. I forget who it was. But that was really disappointing to see, is them just get these stupid penalties. Because I thought they were decent, especially the defensive line. I thought they were pretty good, but they just had stupid penalties, which if you do that against really any team in the Big Ten, let alone Notre Dame, that is going to actually cost you.
Yeah, and to put some statistics to what you're saying, they had 8 penalties to 93 yards. Georgia Southern had 1 penalty for 1 yard because it moved the ball, half the distance to the goal. Yeah. 8 for 93 is against a team that, let's just be honest here, Georgia Southern is they're no Alabama. They're not a team that you should be winning. I know USC won by basically 40 points, but I really don't think talent-wise that Georgia Southern's all that much better than Missouri State. Like, I think they're better because they've been at the FBS level longer and they're predicted to be better. Yeah. But like talent-wise, like I did research on their entire team. Like they don't have a single player who has licks of NFL interest at all. Like this is a cakewalk. It should be, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, look, I mean, USC covered, obviously, the spread. If I'm not mistaken, it was 27.5. Obviously, win by 39. Good teams win, great teams cover. But, it was disappointing, though. I think we can say that. Giving up 20 points to Georgia Southern is not a good look, especially when Matt ends his Fresno State 42-14.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, actually. That's a very good point, that they won by I guess not by as many points, but they allowed less and they scored more. So, they didn't score more, but you know what I mean? They allowed less points. Yeah. The defense is more important. I feel like in games like this, because the offense is going to be able to operate against a team like this. Yeah. Like that Zacharias Williams catch where he was wide open by 20 yards. It was after I think Longstreet it wasn't Longstreet. It was Mayava still, but it was Longstreet was about to go in. Like the talent divide was very clear, but I think without further ado, we should talk about the 3 touchdowns USC gave up.
1 second, because I want to bring up one thing. Can we talk about Jaden's performance? Because I think he played really well. I think Jaden played really well, and we definitely saw the flashes of a guy who totally could be a day one pick. That guy that we have been talking about, where if he is that day one quarterback, USC will be in the playoff. That being said, I also saw, and this is once again, he played great. There was flashes of that guy who made poor decisions.
Yeah.
There was one play in particular that was lucky not to be intercepted. Some of the throws were behind him.
I do remember
behind players. They're like, I'm not saying he played bad at all. There were issues though. And I'm like, once again, he wasn't bad at all. He was great. There were things that concern me. And that's the problem with these little games is the only things I take away from these games are the little things that are going to be a problem later on.
I wholeheartedly agree. And that's why USC isn't ranked in the AP poll, because you can't take away positives you can't ride on the sort of happy things, the good things that happened in this week and last week, because we know that USC is going to score a lot of offense. It's a Lincoln Riley team against a very mid to low tier team. It's just the reality of it, that you can only really get takeaways from the offensive line and the defense, in my opinion. We know the receivers are going to make their catches. So I agree with you. I don't know how much I really look into this just because he only had a couple attempts, but he only ran for 5 yards at 2 attempts, which I don't really put much stock into, because I think, first of all, I think Lincoln Riley, and we've had this discussion many times, Lincoln Riley having a running back group like the group he has right now, you don't really need Mayava to run a whole lot because you can design more plays. Not to say, I think that argument is flawed, because last year they had Quentin Joyner and Woody Marks, one of which is in the NFL and getting looks at the NFL level. The other one will probably, hopefully he comes back from the injury, will be in the NFL. The point is, he's had NFL tier running backs and he's never used them right. So maybe that'll help Mayava in that way. But, if the O-line is shaky, which I'm not necessarily going to say it has been, but it hasn't been 100% good.
Yeah, it hasn't been fantastic.
It hasn't been otherworldly. He might have to run the football. And we know he can do that, but it'd maybe be nice to see him, maybe even this week against Purdue, a game where USC's heavily favored against a team that's.
I haven't seen have you seen the spread yet? I haven't
seen the spread, but
is that Purdue, hold on. Let me look.
While you look, Purdue is picked to finish 18th in the Big West.
Okay, yeah. Spread it. Do you want to guess it?
Yeah, I will guess it, actually. I'm going to say 17.5.
21.5.
Okay.
Decent. So only 6 points less than Georgia Southern. I think that's what Vegas thinks of Purdue more than they think of USC so far.
So do you think USC covers?
Yeah. I've been saying, and I forget if I told you this, I think if USC doesn't win by 3+ touchdowns, then it's a disappointment.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Purdue stinks. I think Barry Odom is going to be a great coach, going to build a pretty good program.
Yeah.
Not this year, though. Not this year.
We'll preview the game a little later, because Purdue is 2-0. They haven't played anyone yet.
Yeah.
They've looked good, but it's Purdue. So should we get into some of the clip breakdown now, you think?
Yeah, we should. Yeah. Okay. You're gonna have to monitor the chat while I am on.
Welcome in, everybody. Byron Gray. Thanks for joining us. Danny as well. Fight on. 2-0. Moving on to Purdue next. USC's first road game of the season. They haven't won a football game technically on the road outside of LA since 2 seasons ago. They did win in Vegas twice last year, but those were not technically road games. So a big test. It's not a game where we're expecting a firing match, but back and forth necessarily, but it is still a road game in conditions USC is not used to. So that's always going to be pointed at. But yeah, for everyone in here right now, we're about to break down some film from the previous game. So Terrence,
3 touchdowns from last game. All right. So this is the first touchdown. Obviously Georgia Southern is set up for success here. Wayman Jordan fumbles a couple yards back, about 9 yards back. Let's watch this thing through, because it's man coverage. Bishop Fitzgerald kind of just gets beat. It's a poor throw. Receiver makes a great.
Yeah.
Rewind it.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly man coverage. Everyone has their man. And Bishop Fitzgerald, who had a pick 6 in his first USC game ever in week 1, gets beat by, and that's Camden Brown, who, for the record, is a pretty good receiver. Not an NFL caliber receiver, in my opinion, but he's a decent receiver. He's a guy who he had 55 yards in their first game, a touchdown. He played at Auburn. He played at Auburn with Jay Fair, actually. So he's a guy who is decent, but if you're Bishop Fitzgerald, you shouldn't get beat like that. It's just you got to fix that.
Yeah, watch. It's right here. About 6-7 yards up, he just gets burned, and then it's not a good throw, but a good quarterback hits that receiver in stride. It's a tough catch either way. Camden Brown makes a great play on the ball. Bishop Fitzgerald would have been a pass interference either way. Not a good rep from him.
I also think, again, I'm not a football player, so I'm not going to speak as if I could do any better. But to me, sort of
settling, Casey Casliner hypothetically played this.
Yeah, settling for a PI because it's egregious. He had to have known right away that was a PI. It just feels lazy to me when it's not a good throw. I know he has his back turned to the football.
Yeah, but look at his arm, right? Look at his hand.
It's egregious.
He knows he's kind of done. He's just trying to prevent a catch, and he's just holding on for dear life.
Yeah, I think you got to put a hand up or something, or just try to just make a play on the ball. Because either way, even if that ball's dropped, they get 15 yards out of it, and they're pretty darn close on 3rd and 1 to the goal line.
He doesn't get his head turned around until he is behind Camden Brown, and by that point, the ball is literally right there.
Yeah.
So he was never going to make a play on that ball. Once again, it's a great catch by Camden Brown. Bishop Fitzgerald, though, you can't get beat, especially when you're in, USC. Part of it could be called out to play calling, but they sell it for the run, which makes sense. 3rd and 1, 3rd and short, but I guess it was probably 4-down territory for them. He just gets burned, and that is.
Yeah, I mean, I want to ask you this. This is more of a big picture question, but you and I have talked about the strongest position groups, whether it be wide receiver, whether it be D-line. Do you think the weakest is the defensive backs or specifically?
Yeah, and I think we said that a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, honestly.
Yeah, but through 2 weeks though, I know it's tune-up games, but do you still have that opinion?
Yes, very much so. I believe it last week and I believe it this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think the safeties are very good, but as we'll see in a second, Kamari Ramsey's really good. Yeah. I don't know about Christian Pierce.
Yeah. But yeah, Oklahoma looked good and we haven't played. I've been just kind of thinking every time USC played the 2 weeks. I'm just waiting for meaningful football, I'm waiting because Michigan State, that's when it starts to really get going, and that's not a great team, but that's when it starts to get going, of course. I will be curious. We talked about this. That's an 8 p.m. Pacific game. That is so messed up for Michigan State. That is brutal.
I kind of respect it on USC's end a little bit, just because you want to give yourself as much of a chance to win as
it wasn't USC. It was the broadcasting.
I guess, yeah, but maybe USC had something to do with it. I don't know.
We're not bribing the broadcasting to give ourselves the 8 p.m. game.
Well, no, I know, but I don't know. A lot of people online were like, "Oh, USC doing this," so I don't know, made me believe. But anyways,
to go into online rumors, Casey.
Well, no, okay. Well, anyways, I mean,
the other one.
I kind of respect the late time, from a viewing standpoint, just because USC has to deal with a bunch of time changes, and there's not many teams that are coming, from the Big Ten to the West Coast because there's less West Coast teams. So I think it kind of works out, is what I'm saying. I don't think it's entirely unfair, but I think it's I kind of wish that was going to happen against a slightly harder team than Michigan State. But
yeah, Michigan.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus a night game would be so good.
Yeah.
First real opponent,
Michigan State,
I'd say. Yeah, because I don't really consider Purdue, they're favored by 21.5. I'd also say maybe Illinois. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
But Casey, here's the second touchdown. This is the second touchdown. This is another one. This is very similar to the touchdown Missouri State had last week, as in it was a miscommunication. Because watch here,
Gentry backs out.
Way too open. Then I fear that is Bishop Fitzgerald. But rewind it. It's right here. It's zone coverage.
Yep. Cover two.
Yep. Camden Brown beats Fitzgerald off the top. And now we were debating about this a little bit pre-show.
Yeah.
Whose fault do we truly think this is?
Well, here's the hard thing. Like, we don't know what the playbook
Yeah,
is.
that
So
is
it's
the
hard
problem.
to 100% know. My theory was it was Christian Pierce's fault and not Bishop Fitzgerald.
Mhm.
Because if you look at the pre-snap, Braylon Conley, number 22 on the near side, is mirrored to Bishop Fitzgerald and stays in the flats. Well, not the flats, but like, 10 yards almost from the line of scrimmage. So, I thought maybe that could warrant the blame away from Bishop, but then the blame would be on Christian Pierce, and it's like, do you still blame? But it's a cover two, so it's like there's a lot of different variables here because like Kamari Ramsey is doing the right thing all the way. There is no viable receiver on the left side of the field. However, that's Camden Brown again. Yeah, I think that's Christian Pierce because that's the only thing Christian Pierce needs to worry about.
Look at Kamari Ramsey down here.
Yeah, like that's the only thing. Christian Pierce, where was he on that play?
Yeah, I think you might be right on this one because it is when you play, they should be playing too high, and he should be back there. That's supposed to cover that. I think that's probably right because I think I've kind of come around to. I think that is right. At the same time, I'm not sure where Bishop's supposed to be here because look, you got 4 here, and then you got is that Braylon Shelby dropping.
Yeah.
So where is Bishop Fitzgerald? It feels like he's in no man's land.
Yeah, I think maybe like it's just a kind of broken play design, but like Danton Lynn is like a genius, as I've heard. Like I don't know. I'm just
so that's why I kind of blame the players and then watch this. He scores and then immediately Fitzgerald kind of looks back like it's so that was and then back here.
Wait, who was following? Okay, look, Shelby follows the receiver in the middle who's going deep.
Uh-huh.
Who was the other? Because Shelby's sort of a linebacker, or that's Gentry. I can't tell if it's an 18 or
right here.
Yeah,
that's Gentry.
Okay, that's Gentry. Okay, so he's
Shelby's
the linebacker.
Right there. And is that DJ?
But why would Shelby? So Shelby's acting as a linebacker, but he's a D lineman. Why would he be playing?
Look, he drops and look, he's acting like he rushes. He drops into zone right there to cover the flats. That's why right here. That's what I was kind of thinking. Is that DJ who I can't see the
that's DJ Harvey, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So DJ is right there. That's why I was thinking maybe he's supposed to drop there, but I still don't think that makes sense. And I still feel like Bishop Fitzgerald was caught in a place he didn't really mean to be.
Yeah, I think it's either DJ Harvey or Christian Pierce's fault. I don't think it's Fitzgerald's fault. With that being said, though, he still got beat. Like, even if it's not his man, like he had the right of way, but like it doesn't necessarily matter because like he still gets beat. Like, I know it's not his guy necessarily, probably, but like,
see, I feel like it's gotta be though, because look at where everyone else is right here.
I think it's just a miscommunication. Like, I just think,
yeah, I know we keep talking about, and that's another problem which we can talk about in a second, but I feel like that's got to be his man, and he's got to be covering right around there.
I'm so confused. Okay, if that's the case, I'm just so confused why Braylon Conley is like in the flats, basically. Because look, Braylon Conley doesn't follow number 5. Number 5 is Marcus Sanders Jr.
Yeah, right here.
He doesn't follow. And then but look, the running back on
Skycam would be great right now. Too bad we don't have that footage.
But look, I mean, like if JC French threw it to his left. I mean, I know that running back or receiver, that player is 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but he could still get a first down easily. He has one man to beat. So I think honestly,
that's also not discrediting. That's also not crediting Kamari, who's back.
Yeah. Wait, go back. You know what I'm talking about though? Like that receiver who's wide
open. Yeah. This guy right here.
Like Braylon Conley is beat, I think, if he throws to him because he has to worry about 2 guys.
But then also Eric Gentry here. Watch this. Because Eric Gentry comes over right here. I think that gives him enough time where.
Okay, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess, I didn't see that. Okay, well.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Like we said, it's hard to see once again without a sky cam, but also, it feels like Bishop right here.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not Bishop's fault, I think like when I was broadcasting, I said like Bishop Fitzgerald's not having a good game right now because the fact that you get beat twice,
it looks like he's caught out of like look at his just the body language.
But then why would he be so disagree? Like like you said, as soon as Camden Brown caught it, he was like putting his hands up like in disgust. Like,
yeah, he's looking at DJ Harvey.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe it was maybe it's just a clear. Okay, we'll just chalk it up to a miscommunication because that's what it was. It was a miscommunication, and that's the second time we've seen a miscommunication touchdown. I kind of hate seeing that.
Yeah, I hate it.
That's pretty terrible to see.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you gel that out. Obviously, it's good they play Purdue. Still not a slack opponent. It's still a lot better than Georgia Southern, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of
Big
funny.
Ten opponent.
It's funny because I was looking at DJ Harvey and Bishop Fitzgerald's stats from last year. DJ Harvey had 2 sacks and Fitzgerald had 0, but their coverage statistics are almost the exact same. Harvey had 58 tackles, Fitzgerald had 55. They each had 7 tackles for loss, and Harvey had 4 picks. Fitzgerald had 3. So what the point I'm trying to make is they're equal caliber. I know that one played in the Mountain West and one played in at NC State, but their stats are pretty equal.
Players who that should not happen to.
Yeah, and like their frames are pretty similar. Like they're 10 pounds off from each other, 1 inch. Like the point I'm trying to make is they're very similar players. You don't want to be having miscommunications when 2 guys are similar because that's going to allow other teams to exploit a vulnerable part. They're going to read onto it. So
and then we'll real quick look at the third one. However, the third one, it was very much when the lesser players were in.
Yeah. Kevin Longstreet.
Yeah, so let me share this.
Who actually got a lot of praise week 1 by Lincoln Riley, but
we're right here. Here, I'll take it through right here. So there's not much to break down on this one, to be honest, because obviously Longstreet's not getting a ton of snaps. So watch it though.
Not a whole lot of pressure, honestly.
No, he allows him to build. He allows Dalen Cobb to build up speed. Yeah, and that way he just cuts out, beats him to the corner.
Yeah,
that feels pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, I mean the D line this week. I'm blanking on how many sacks they had, but it wasn't as good as the first week as we'd expect. But
yeah,
I don't know. I thought maybe I expected a little more out of him. I felt like French sometimes had a lot more time than he needed.
No, 100%. Sometimes the offense is actually better than the defense. Yeah. The D line, yeah.
I agree.
That was a very good pass. Like 100% was. And once again, Georgia Southern is not horrible. They're definitely not good, though, and there was too many touchdowns scored. My biggest problem is not even necessarily the touchdowns. It's just the fact that Georgia Southern was able to kind of move the ball.
Yeah.
Like, they were definitely getting downfield. Granted, that first touchdown, they're set up in plus territory. They were able to move the ball pretty decently, though.
Yeah, and USC had 4 sacks this week. They had 5 last week. So, I guess it kind of makes sense, the discrepancy of only 1. They had 8 tackles for loss. They only had 1 pass deflection. And then to Carlos Nicholson with the interception. Good to see him get the pick. It was a very poorly placed ball. So I would have been worried if they didn't pick it there. So, yeah, good to see on that side. But again, I think it's the same thing as last year. I know the defense has improved, but those big plays.
We haven't seen that yet. We have not seen them truly improve yet.
Yeah.
I haven't played anyone, in fairness.
Yeah, they haven't played anyone, but it's almost worse that they haven't. I'd argue, the defense week 1 against LSU last year, when you're facing off against a team that has Will Campbell, Garrett Nussmeier, rest in peace, Kyron Lacey, just not a team that had the 2023 LSU weapons, but you get my point. And they shut them down. They shut them down for most of the game. Mm-hmm. I really wish that USC had, and we could talk about hours for why they didn't do this, but I wish they played a decent team these first 2 weeks. It would have made a statement.
You know what I actually kind of really dislike? The SEC going to, this is a tangent, the SEC going to the 9-game 3 conference schedule or 3 out of conference. I don't love that. I actually really kind of like the idea of 8-game in conference, mandatory Power 5 out. I kind of like, or Power 4. I really kind of like that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think I guess USC is different because we've never played an FCS team. So it's we're sort of the exception, not the rule. But
yes, we just played Missouri State and Georgia Southern.
Exactly.
So I don't know about that.
Exactly. I feel like they're sort of flexing that when it's not really a huge achievement.
Yeah, but I'd rather play Missouri State, Georgia Southern, and Notre Dame and Stanford. then I would rather play like Purdue.
Yeah.
Like I think that'll be, or like Cal. I'd rather play one of those out of conference or someone else.
Well, like there's no reason not to, because you could. I mean, we see Cal has a home and home with UCLA. UCLA has a home and home with Utah. Like there's no reason why. Like I mean, other than those teams not wanting to do it, but like Lincoln Riley could get a win out of it probably and save his team the travel.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
So
I think it makes sense. We talked about the first touchdown a little bit earlier too, in case you weren't here. It was completely unnecessary. You're right. I kind of forgot about that offsides on that play. So that was a good call.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary. The penalties we talked about were completely unnecessary. All of it unnecessary, to say the least.
Yeah, a lot of hands to the face too, like you said. Like it's too much. Yeah.
Yeah. But Casey, we just mentioned them. Purdue coming up at 12:30 Pacific on Saturday. What are you excited for about this game?
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, we talk about what's the first true test, and I think we can agree Purdue is not a good team. They're picked to finish 18th in the Big Ten. New coach though, Barry Odom, really good year at UNLV last year, and they put up they're averaging, they have 34 points in the first game, 31 in the second, so 30 some odd points through first two games. They played Southern Illinois their first game. Ball State, they shut them out 31-0 in the second game. And looking at just the quarterback, Ryan Brown, one of the higher rated PFF quarterbacks in the Big Ten. I think he's in the top 4. We'll look at that list in a second. But their defenses look good. I mean, look, they have a tough schedule coming up because they have to play USC, Notre Dame, Illinois.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that now. Wow.
Yeah.
That's not even counting later in the schedule. Do you see this? At Michigan versus Ohio State, at Washington versus Indiana. Ugh.
I kind of respect it though, because when you're a team that's like really needing a rebuild, like why not just like get a measuring stick game in here and there? Like because they're playing 5 ranked teams, right? At least right now.
Also, I feel like you want to inspire some confidence in your program.
Yeah,
but 2 games.
You can do that though. Like if you lose to Notre Dame by like 3 points, I think that still instills confidence.
They're not going to lose to any of these teams by 3 points.
They said that about NIU last year against Notre Dame, and look what happened.
First off, no one said that. That was the craziest part about it, because no one said they're going to lose to them by 3 points.
Okay, well, again, my point is I respect Odom for having a tough schedule in his first year at Purdue, because I think that can really build character when you're playing 5 ranked teams. When you're playing 5 ranked teams, I'm not saying you have a chance of winning any of them, but like the games are there for the taking, like, you know what I mean? I respect it is what I'm saying.
They're not there for the taking. They play the number 1 team, the number 8 team, the number 9 team, the number 23 team, the number 22 team, and USC.
Well, I don't know. You always bag on Lincoln Riley for the easy schedule, and then so like I feel like you should respect Odom first.
What are you talking about? I have been pissed off with how not easy our schedule has been. Do you know how much I would give for us to play Nebraska's schedule right now? Do you know Nebraska's schedule? Because I've seen Nebraska's schedule. Here, I'm going to read off Nebraska's schedule for you, because, yeah, we can talk about, you know what, I'll just throw, instead of the Cincinnati game, who Nebraska already beat, let's pretend that USC's playing Notre Dame there. Fine. I would just kill for Nebraska's schedule. It is so easy. I think they're going to make the playoff because of it. So we'll say Notre Dame, Akron, is that Houston Christian? That's who that is. Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern, USC, UCLA, Penn State, Nebraska, Iowa. I would kill for that.
Okay, but USC, through the first
that's 10 wins for USC minimum.
Through the first 6 weeks, they're not that much different, because the only difference is throughout the entire thing is like Oregon and Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
I'm not really talking about the whole schedule. I'm talking about early on.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, yeah.
I'm talking about like more so early on, because I don't really care who you play late, because you've already learned enough about the team at that point. When we're playing these week 1, week 2 games, I think it's important, like the LSU game last year. Like I circle back to that because it's the most recent time that USC has had. I mean, look at 2023. Like that USC team didn't have a tough game for a while.
Yeah.
And they still, even like Colorado was tough and Arizona State was tough.
That team also stunk because of that. The team gave up like 34 points a game.
Yeah, but they had a Heisman quarterback. Like, like it could have, they were ranked high. They could have made stuff happen.
No. No, we were not. We clearly were not watching the same games. Let's talk a little bit about some of USC's future opponents. This is looking way out because some of them played some big games this weekend.
Yeah.
And I came out. They are there's two specific ones I was thinking about were Iowa and Illinois. And I'll mention Iowa first. Iowa sucks. Iowa is really bad. Everyone talked about how USC. I saw a lot with people saying that Iowa is probably going to beat USC. Iowa's going to end up ranked again. Iowa's not a good team. Their defense is pretty good. Mark Gronowski can't throw the football.
No,
it's Iowa quarterback syndrome.
And the run game isn't even that good.
No, it hasn't. They lost Caleb Johnson, who barely even got any snaps for the Steelers. Who I thought he was great. I'm not discrediting him last year.
Well,
Iowa stinks.
And I mean, if you really think about it too, like Iowa State didn't play all that good.
No, I thought Iowa State was going to win that game by a lot more.
Yeah,
I'm a big Rocco Becht guy. I thought he was going to be a lot better than that. He was not good.
I really like Rocco Becht too. I like Rocco Becht a lot, and he didn't play horribly. They had no run game though, and he didn't really air it out a whole lot. It wasn't really. I mean, it was very much a ground and pound kind of not in the running sense, but more of like a close game from the start. Mark Gronowski was horrible, and their run game was awful. But can we talk about UCLA though? I know they're.
Yes, we should talk about UCLA.
They're a future opponent, and their quarterback just got arrested.
Their backup quarterback, their backup quarterback, not Nico.
Yeah.
Dude, they are bad. I assume you also have some friends at UCLA. My friend, one of my close friends at UCLA, he's like, dude, we have to shred the entire program, and I don't disagree. They are really bad.
They have. I mean, look.
I didn't think they would be this bad. I will be honest about that. I thought they were going to be bad. I thought they were going to win 40 some odd. They are really bad.
Yeah, and they didn't schedule the easiest opponents for these first couple weeks, which I sort of respect. I mean, they have New Mexico next week. It's a winnable game. They have Northwestern the week after. It's a winnable game.
Yeah.
They have zero run game. We can talk about Nico all we want. He was okay. He was fine. If they were going to win that,
definitely wasn't good.
He wasn't good, but he was, of their players, he was one of the better ones, and that's not saying a lot. But
really quickly, I don't hate this. Wait, really quickly, I don't hate 21.5 Purdue 21.5. What we saw from the USC defense.
I don't know.
I don't really think so, but I also saw this, but I don't really think that it's a trap game just because there's games you can say is a trap game. I think personally, I've been saying Nebraska. I think they're going to lose that game. That is what I think of more of a trap game. Although Nebraska, I think will probably be right.
I mean, I know it's different, but look at Arizona State. They were playing.
That's true.
On the road against a team they should beat in Mississippi State, and they lose in a trap game.
In fairness, though, that Arizona State was only favored by 6.5 heading into that.
True, but I feel like that was sort of history.
It was also a night game in Starkville compared to an afternoon game in West Lafayette.
I mean, the UCLA run game though,
dude.
Don't get me wrong. I was a Javian Thomas fan last year because I'm from NorCal. He was a Cal guy. He was really good. He had 5 carries for 43 yards. Horrible. And Nico
is their leading rusher.
Yeah. Horrible.
They're bad. And just watching them, they just look bad. Utah's a good team. UNLV is a solid team. I predicted them to make the playoff, which
they're overrated, but they're good.
I kind of regret it, especially they've gotten better after the first game, but I do regret that. Yeah.
I thought Sam Levitt, looking at the most recent comment that's in the chat right now, I thought Sam Levitt was horrible this week. I thought he was forcing balls. Shout out Raleek Brown though, former USC Trojan, led the team in rushing at over 100 yards. But I thought Sam Levitt was horrible.
Levitt was bad. Jordan Tyson wasn't bad. Jordan Tyson had 66 of Levitt's 82 passing yards.
Yeah, all things considered, not bad.
He's a good player. Sorry, Caleb is throwing darts on Monday Night Football right now.
He is.
I don't know if you got this team on. He is throwing absolute darts right now. It's awesome to see. But anyways, back to college football. Yeah, UCLA is bad. Let's talk Illinois though, because they clobbered Duke. How much of that game did you watch? Because I watched the whole thing.
Parts of it. I
know you were prepping for the game, so it's fair that you didn't.
Yeah.
Illinois played good. They 100% did. I do think the scoreboard is a lot less representative of what actually happened.
Yeah.
I think that it was a lot. I'm not saying it was a lot closer. However, Illinois really it was a decently close game for about 3 quarters. And then Illinois put belt to ass in the fourth quarter. That being said, the things they did wrong, I didn't think Illinois' offensive line was that good. There was a lot of pressure on Luke Altmaier. They couldn't really get the run game going for a long time. Granted, they eventually got it up to 123 now and look at the box score, so not bad at all. But the first half was really bad for Illinois. So I don't know if that speaks to great coaching by Brett Bielema or that they are a lot more beatable than the scoreboard shows.
I mean, Darian Mensah had a really good game. All things.
No,
he was pretty efficient.
Okay. See, like I'm not trying to disrespect you at all. That kind of shows that you didn't watch the game.
Okay, well,
because
part of my box score watching.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to disrespect you because he was missing long throws. He had no pocket awareness whatsoever. He had 3 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken, including that he had an interception and I think 2 fumbles, or maybe let me see it. Yeah, he had 2 fumbles. They had another fumble. Duke had 5 turnovers.
Okay, Duke had 4 fumbles though. It wasn't just him.
No, but he had 3 of their 5 turnovers though.
Okay, well,
and they were not good.
But
it was like waiting around in the pocket to get hit or around, scramble out, waiting to get hit type of.
I think what I was trying to say though is it's not really so much that he had a great game. It's more that Illinois allowed a lot of passing yards from him. They allowed 300.
They did. No, they did. I didn't think their DBs were that good. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Once again, I think I came away less impressed with Illinois than a lot of other people did. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with this. And I picked Illinois to win the game. I thought they were, and they did. They didn't play that good in the first half. That's what I'm trying to say. Nor the third quarter. The fourth, really good. They forced a lot of turnovers. They moved the ball. They weren't that good in the first 2. There were some penalties that helped them out a lot. They were not that good in the first 2 quarters. That's what I'm trying to say. And that makes me feel better about USC playing to them.
Yeah, I respect that. And I wish we could take away. I guess we could look at the Oklahoma-Michigan game. I was going to say Nebraska, but they played Akron. And also Michigan State only beating Boston College by 2, went to overtime.
Yeah, Michigan State's not that good. I'm curious what the spread will be for that game.
Guess we'll see in a week. Michigan, Oklahoma. We can talk about it for a second. Pretty underwhelming from. Don't get me wrong. Justice Haynes, one of the best running backs in the country.
He's good.
I think. I think he's in the top echelon. But I didn't think Underwood was all that good.
No, he looked. No. That's not crazy to say at all. He looked like a freshman quarterback going into Norman, Oklahoma. That's what he looked like.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. I'm sure Hassan Longstreet would have had maybe a similar reaction. But yeah,
I will say, Casey, and this is not. Once again, this is not like this is not disrespecting Justice Haynes. He was good. He had a great game. That being said, once again, I don't think the box score is truly representative of how he played because half of his yards was from one run.
Okay,
and that's not bad. That's not bad at all. You, of course, you're gonna break long runs. That's not.
Yeah, but for me though, it's consistency. I know they played New Mexico last week, but he had almost 160 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Sorry, 3 quarters of his was from one run. Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah, but it's consistency though. He had 160 yards against New Mexico and then has 125 against the 18th team in the country. I see your point, but he's been probably the best in the country so far. From a competition standpoint. But maybe should we kind of move on to the preview part of the show, looking at
we'll talk a little bit about Purdue.
Yeah, what for you, because we talked about some of the weaknesses, the strengths from this past week. What's sort of a thing you're going to have your eye on when this game begins? Is it adjusting to the road? Is it a certain personnel? What are you looking at?
Look, Casey, I think it's a little bit of the road and just simply how does the secondary play? How is the secondary going to play against a better opponent? And granted, it's not that much better opponent, but hold on. I'm just looking at this now. Is this the Michael Jackson that played for USC? It's on Purdue?
I believe it is.
I didn't even realize that.
I could be wrong, but
yeah, it is. Wow. It's very interesting that he went to Georgia.
We're also going to see Josh Henson.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. So some USC returners. I don't know. I think too much of their offense runs through Devin Mockbee, the veteran running back. I think he's a very talented player. Been there a long time. Back the years where Purdue was pretty decent, which was like 2 years ago. But I think a lot of the games are going to run through him. Ryan Brown has had a pretty good year. It is honestly to me though, how do they shut down the run and how do the DBs communicate? Are we going to see a lot of more wide open catches and touchdowns? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but it's hard when you have 2 of your starting cornerbacks be transfers. Like, I don't care how good they are. Like, I mean, Kamari Ramsey has played under Dan Lynn for 3 years at this point. Like, he knows it inside and out.
Defense.
He knows the defense. Like, Eric Gentry obviously knows the defense because he's been here for a while. Even a guy like, the D line, there's only so much communicating that goes on in the D line compared to the secondary. But like even a Christian Pierce type of player, he's a junior, but last year was mostly playing on special teams. So it's not like he played in all 13 games last year. Christian Pierce did, but most of that was on special teams. So my point is, it's not an inexperienced defense in secondary, but it's not necessarily all that adjusted to Danton Lynn.
Mm-hmm. No, you are right. I don't know. We should mention Anthony Luke. I saw one clip. I forgot to get it. But it was just Anthony Luke is blowing up a running back and an offensive lineman on his way to the quarterback. The DNs are so good.
Is he the best defensive lineman for USC?
It's him or Cameron Fountain. Both of those guys are really good, in my opinion.
I think Braylon Shelby is really good too. Like, I know he's not starting necessarily every game, but like, I think he's a guy that really needs respect because whenever he comes in, he plays the same way, starting a game or not. So I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Jeff, good to see you. Yeah, it's also they played Michigan, a team who I think Michigan's going to be unranked when they come to USC, when they come to LA. I think Michigan's going to be 3-2 entering that game because I think they're going to lose to Nebraska because they have to go on the road.
Fair.
So it's another team I think was overhyped. So it's Oklahoma's, I don't know. They're fine. Like they're good. I like John Mateer a lot, and I think they're better than past years. They also play like a buzzsaw of an SEC schedule, though. So I'm curious what I assume the Oklahoma Voice College Football people have to think about them.
Yeah. Well, again, if you have any final comments or questions, let us know. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a weird time for this team because there's a lot of positives, but at the same time, like
seen the flaws. We definitely have seen the flaws.
Yeah, this team is not perfect. Like I think there's sort of a misconception. I think sometimes that like the defense got completely fixed under Lynn and whatever they brought in this year. It got a lot better, but we haven't really seen the improvement yet.
Yeah, look, there is times where they've looked really good, and there is times where they have really just not looked good at all to me, where I've been like, I texted you this, where I felt like I was back in like 2023, where it's like, how are we letting a G5 team move on us like this? And it wasn't that bad. Let me make that clear. But there was times like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd agree there. I think we'll definitely see this week what happens. West Lafayette, it's not like the hardest place to play in the Big Ten, but it's not the easiest. Maybe that's Northwestern, maybe, or UCLA.
Honestly, it's one of those three probably.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's the travel fatigue, though. A lot of young guys on this team, see how they adjust. We thought USC was going to – I want to kind of remember what the spread was for the Maryland game last year because that was a game USC was supposed to win, and it was a road environment they really couldn't handle. So, I mean, same could be said about the Washington game and pretty much every other road game. So,
every game outside of Las Vegas or Los Angeles.
Very true. But again, we thank all of you guys for tuning in once again. We'll have reactions from the Purdue game next week. I'll be in Purdue.
Yeah, Casey, I was about to say, you're going to be there. Give us some boots on the ground reporting.
Yeah, I will. Make sure to follow us on socials. I'm Casey Kasliner. That's Terrence Holton. Our socials are just our names. Terrence does weekly Heisman picks and I mean, all these different picks that you have. So, whatever it may be that week.
I have lots of opinions outside of USC football.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair statement. But yeah, I'll be in West Lafayette, so make sure to tune in my coverage there. And again, thank you all for tuning in here on USC Coliseum Chronicles Live.
Mm-hmm. Wait, last thing though, Jeff. Yep, we talked about that.
Yeah.
I said this earlier. Good teams win, great teams cover. That's all I'll say. That's what we'll end this with. Sorry, a little bit shorter show today. We have to get to some things though. Thank you guys for tuning in.